Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to everyone. First of all, I would like to extend my apology for being a bit late today because I'm having technical difficulties, and I think it's one of those things that you have to endure when you are doing things online. Okay, so apologies for that. As of now, we are going to do a little bit of listening on how to write a very strong story. And the reason why I'm doing this because I think that most of you has the tendency of writing stories for your part three for your SPM. So I'm not saying that all of you did, but most of you had that tendency. So I think that it's best for me to address that before you did mistakes on writing stories. Okay. All right. So before doing so, I'm just going to show you what are the things that we as examiners are looking for when you are writing us a story. Okay, so without wasting any more time, let's look at the slides that I've prepared for you. Okay, so this is, I think that I've introduced this when you were in Form 3, I think, and I maintained this throughout your Form 4, and now this is just what we call a refresher lah. What are we looking for in your story? Okay, the first thing that we are looking for in your story is exposition. Okay, exposition. This is where you write your setting of society, time, and place. Okay, you're setting a tone here. Okay, so where is your setting would be? Where would your setting be? Is it in the city? Is it in a village? Okay, what kind of society are you going to address in this story? Is it going to be a modern society or an advanced society with advanced technology, or a society that's very typical of a Malay village? Okay, this is where you should address that. So the exposition has this setting, places, and time. Also, characters and characterization. Okay, this is very important. This is also where you introduce your main characters, your heroes and heroines lah, for your story. Okay. After the exposition, after you introduce all the setting, characters, and characterization, before that, I would like to remind you that when in exposition, it is very important that you describe your characters, your main characters well. Okay, so if your main characters have specific characters or specific characterization that you think that is quite interesting to be shared, please share it here. So characters could be their personality. Characterization could be their personality, the way they behave, the way they talk, etc. And you can also describe their physical characteristics here. So exposition is very important in introducing characters and setting. After that, you can do so. After exposition, you can do rising action. Okay, rising action is where small conflicts that drive to confrontations, means that this is where the climax should begin. Okay, this is not a climax, but the story in the climax should begin here. There's small conflicts that you need to point out. After that, events will collectively propel to the suspense of the climax. Okay, so these small conflicts will propel to the suspense of the climax. So it can build up suspense here lah, in rising action. Okay, as for the climax is the pinnacle of a story. Okay, it's turning point of event. So this is where the most dramatic part of your story. Okay, so it could be a turning point of your events. Okay, so meaning to say that you are going to talk about the events that happen. It's going to unfold. It's going to change here. Okay, anything situation that you set just now will take a turn here. Okay, in the climax. And then we have falling action. Okay, falling action is the unraveling of mysteries. Okay, investigations or solutions towards resolving conflict. So in falling action, the conflict has not been resolved yet, but the small steps of resolving the conflict has already been taken. Okay, so this is where falling action comes to place. And next one is resolution. Okay, truths are revealed and conflicts are resolved. Okay, so this is where the truths are revealed and conflicts are resolved. And also you can provide moral values here. Okay, so as a Form 5 student, I would think that this is the flow of story that I would want from you. I know that some of you have quite good English command, the good English language of command, good command of English language, but and you can do those flashbacks and fast forward and stuff like that. I have no doubt with that. But as an examiner, I would expect something a little bit more predictable like this. And if you can, how to put a wow factor for your story, it would be in giving description of your story, or perhaps making sure that our imagery comes alive by using all those five senses to help all those five senses words, five senses to describe the story. Okay. All right, let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so when you are doing plot triangle, don't forget, brainstorm ideas, choose the type of sentences for the written word. It could be simple, compound, or complex sentences. It could be guidance from teacher as well. You can use technicalities of grammar, like I mentioned just now, five senses, okay, and monologues and dialogues. Okay, monologues means something when you talk to yourself, and dialogues is when you have direct speech talking to another character. Okay. All right, I think that's all for plot triangle. Okay, so let me just close this one a bit. Okay, so that would be how you are going to write your story lah. Okay, I think that you know about that already. It's just me trying to let me just trying to revise with you. Okay. Okay, so now we are moving forward to the kind of question that you might have for your SPM. Okay, so I noticed that when you are writing stories for your SPM level, I noticed that some of you find it very difficult to interpret the questions well. I do not know what's the problem. Perhaps it's the question that sounded too generic that you may think it means something, but it's actually meant another. Okay, let me just show you another example. Okay. Okay, this is I'm going to show you later after we finish the stream. Okay, so one of the question that I found students tend to get confused is that question like this. Let me just enlarge it a bit. Okay, question like this. Okay, your teacher has asked you to write a story for homework. Okay, the story must have the title, "The Most Important Lesson I Learned from Others." Okay, the most important lesson I learned from others. Okay, so when you are looking, before we are looking at the next question, the most important lesson I learned from others, how many lessons you are supposed to be talking about here? Okay, how many lessons are you supposed to be talking about here? Can you answer me on the live chat section? How many lessons for question with a title, for a story with a title, the most important lesson I learned from others? How many lessons would you have in your story if you've got this kind of question? How many? Share your answers in the live chat section. How many lessons? Hi, Akila. Okay, all right, let's see. Okay, let's say one. Let's see. Adib said one. Baki said one. Lilita said one. Aiman said one. Okay, most of you said one. Okay, since most of you said one, why is it only one lesson? Can you tell me why? Share your answer in the live chat section. Tell me why. Why is it only one lesson? Why is it only one lesson you mentioned for this question? What's the giveaway? What's the clue from that sentence saying that it's only one lesson? One lesson is correct. Why? How did you find out that it's one? Okay. I did say because of the phrase the most. Okay. The most important. Okay. All right. This is such a relief. Most of you know how to read questions already. Thank God. Okay, this is such a relief for me because this is the kind of question that can trick you. Okay, so in this question, you are only expected to mention about only one lesson. Okay, sounds easy, right? But when you have this kind of question, you need to be able to share your story deeper on a deeper level. Means that a description of the situation that this depicts the lesson. So you cannot have like a lot of different events to show this one important lesson. You can only have one situation, but you need to describe them very well in detail and in depth. Okay, and of course lah, from that this situation um, you need to mention lah what the lesson is. Okay, so even though this question only requires you to talk about only one lesson and one important situation, the plot triangle has to be followed. Means that all the exposition, all the rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution has to be there. That one particular description of situation has to follow all the plot triangles so that it becomes the full circle. Okay, since you already know what is it that I'm looking for, okay, let me just share it a bit. Okay, I'm just going to show you um, what mistake could you have done when you look at the question. Okay, let's share the screen. Okay, okay, let me just share the screen. Okay, this is one of the mistakes that you could have done when you're writing the particular question. Okay, let's look at the response. Okay, when talking about time management, I always fail to make plans for my study. I keep being distracted by social media, like watching YouTube videos whenever I want to study. Lately, I think that this kind of habit will produce poor results in my final exam. Okay, this is not bad. The introduction, although is quite simple, but it serves the purpose. Okay, this is okay. All right, last night I had a video call with my friend Hafiz. We spent a lot of time talking about how we spend our time during the lockdown at home. I told him that I need some kind of motivation to motivate myself to study. Okay, he said to organize my time wisely. He advised me to sort out different things like study and play video games so that I can have a vision about things that I must do in a day. Okay, so meaning to say that he called his friend Hafiz lah to help him. Okay. The other thing that Hafiz told me was he doesn't multitask every time when he doing work. Okay, he told me that sometimes it is better to focus on only one thing at a time. This will lead to high performance when doing a task. Last but not least, he advised me to focus during online classes. Online classes should be beneficial when studying subjects the teacher taught or the taught subject lah. This will help more to understand the new topics that we learn. In conclusion, I think that the most important factor is ourselves. Okay, we should improve our daily life routines as this will produce better decision making in things that we must do. Improving now is better than lamenting for later. Okay, when I read to you this story, does this write up sound like a story? Answer yes or no on the live chat section. Okay, I repeat the question. When I read to you this story, when I read to you this story, does this sound like a story? Yes or no? Okay, yes or no? Does this sound like a story? Shall I answer in the live chat section? Okay, let's say it doesn't sound like a story. Okay, Balkis also agreed with Alia. Anyone else? Does this sound like a story? Okay, most of you answered no. Okay, very well. Okay, most of you get the idea that this is not exactly a story. I think that when you are writing this sort of, when you're choosing this kind of question, you need to remind yourself, although they mention about a lesson, it has to sound like a story. I mean, the whole event has to have a progression like exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution when you are writing the story. Okay, so what happened here in this write up is that this candidate just basically uh, this one he's just mentioning uh, lesson one. Okay. Oh, sorry, this one is lesson two. This one is lesson one. And this one is lesson three. Okay. So again, even so, with this tendency, it shows that this candidate did not understand that for this story you only have to mention about one lesson. If you write more than that, you will be penalized because it's showing that you did not answer the question, or even you didn't understand the question. Okay, so that is the problem with this essay. So do not do like this. You have to talk about one important lesson in one coherent event following the plot triangle stages. Okay, all right. So we are done with that. Before that, any question? Any question, class? If you have any question, can you share on the live chat section so that we can address them? Okay. Any question? No. All right. So far, no. Okay. So what I want to do? No question. No. 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 All right. What I want to do today is that I want you to. I want to have a special project when writing a story because we are focusing on stories right this week. So I think this week and next week stories. Okay. So I want to do this a little bit of a special project with you since I'm not sure if the outreach is going on for this year, but we are just going to do that for our class lah. Okay. So for this project, I need you to work in. Later I'll finalize in our WhatsApp group. Okay. So before that, I just want to show you the software that or even the web application that I want you to use. Okay, for this matter lah, for this project. Okay, let me just show you the screen. Okay, this is a website called Storybird. Okay, sounds very interesting, right? The name of the website. Okay, the Storybird. Let me just copy the address and then share on the live chat section. Okay. Okay, so I've shared the link on the live chat section. So later, I'm going to share with you a Google Doc that you need to decide lah. Within your groups, either in pairings, I'm not sure yet. I'm going to finalize in your WhatsApp group. Okay, so you need to write your story by using graphics. Okay, so let's see. Okay, sometimes when you sign in Storybirds, they come out like this. They come out in Chinese. Okay, so if you want to change the language setting, you can just go to the icon with a globe icon there, and then choose English. Okay, so you can, So what you need to do is that you need to sign in first. You can sign in using your Google account. because you already have one, easier. Okay, so I'm just registering here. I'm an educator. So if you're a student, you go by student or individual lah. Okay, so if this is a group or a pair work, just one account is needed for you to do this work lah. But you need to work together lah with your partner or with your group members. Okay, so username would be, this one is Atika, and I will put my password. Okay. All right, this is getting. Oh, you need to have your username, don't forget. Okay, so for me, I choose a teacher. Later you choose as a student, and then you pick your country lah. Okay, we are in Malaysia. Do we have Malaysia here? Malta, Maldives. We have Malaysia there. Okay, and school, you have to write your name of school lah. Okay, later you have to verify your email. Okay, let me just. Let me just find the email first. Because I'm using MOE account, so I couldn't possibly remember the email. So I'm just going to copy from my profile. Okay, so you have to confirm your email later. Okay, so that's how you are going to sign up for Storybird. Okay, let me just. Okay, so the best part about Storybird is that you are going to write your story by using graphics. It's not just you're using graphic to tell your story. You still need to write a normal story with words, but you are going to use graphic to help you to further understand, to make sure that the reader further understood your writing. Okay. Okay, let me just verify my account first. Okay, activate account. Okay. So this is my account just now. Okay, I'm just going to sign in because I've already registered. Okay, so what you can do is that, okay, you go straight to write here. That you have classes, challenge, read and write. You go straight away to class. You go straight to write. Okay, there are different example of graphics that you can do with your story lah. Okay, so for example, this one. Okay, this is a picture book. Okay, picture book is you can have like almost like a story beside and then picture and the next page. Okay, side to side. Okay, long form story is more like a novel, and this is something that I don't think is suitable for us because you are going to be expected to write from 200 to 250 words only. So I don't think you can use long form story or comics. Okay, we are not using that. For your project, I want you to use picture book, either picture book or flash fiction. Okay, so for picture book, you can start by choosing an illustration for your story. Okay, for example, the most important lesson, perhaps you want to learn about something like kindness. Okay, you want to talk about kindness. Your story is about kindness. Okay, so when you start when you want to start using Storybird, you need to have your stories done first. Finish your stories first, and then use your picture book to submit to me lah. Okay, so if my story is about kindness, I just choose this one. Okay, right. So they have lots of different illustrations here. Okay, so perhaps I can write no good deeds. No good deeds what? No good deeds. Okay, you continue later lah. So this is an example. Okay, so after you're done, okay, you can change font here. You can use other illustration. Okay, so this is the cover lah. Okay, after they have other different settings as well. Okay, so perhaps if you want to start a story here, okay, and then a text on the other, you can do that as well. Okay, so you have a text here, and this is the illustration. Illustration you can just put here lah. Okay, so I let you explore later lah after you've got your question. Okay, right. So after you're done, let's just save and exit. Okay, save to draft. Okay, perhaps privately. Okay, or you can do publicly lah. Publicly is very easy. Okay, so publicly would be okay. Let me just the whole thing in check. So after that, you can submit and review. Okay, submit and review. Then later, if you're done, you can straight away. Okay, print. Perhaps you want to add this one, and then print. Okay, so so you can buy if you want to lah, but it's quite expensive. It's in US dollar. Okay. Okay. So you can just print your books here. 2 books, no, just 1 book. Okay, let me just. Okay, you don't have to print lah. Of course, I mean printing is quite expensive. If you want to print, it's at your own cost. Okay, so you just choose printable PDF, generate. Okay, and then you download. Okay, after you download, then you share it with me on Google Classroom. Okay, any questions? Any questions so far? About Storybird, about writing a story. The questions later I'll share in the Google Classroom, and then you decide lah amongst yourself who's going to write what and who's going to be with who. Any question? Yes, no? Everything okay? Okay, Alia said everything okay. So if you have any further questions, you can ask me in the live chat section, in the WhatsApp group, so that I can address them lah. Okay, so I'm going to share with you the Google Docs that you need to decide amongst yourself who's going to write what and who's going to be working with who. Okay, and for now, I think that's all that I have for you. If there's no question, I'll end the broadcast for today, and thank you for your participation. Thank you, class.